This is the 411, your host, Matt Mike.
Hey Sport Junkie fans, welcome to this new edition of the 411. I'm your host, Matt Micah. The committee has made their decision, and the college football playoff is set with Alabama number 1, Oregon number 2, Florida State number 3, and the Ohio State Buckeyes at number 4. Now, why the committee chose Ohio State over a team like TCU or Baylor, I think was because of the Big 10 championship game, them having a championship game, whereas the Big-12, they didn't have one. And 2 is because the Ohio State Buckeyes have improved every single week going forward, especially after that loss early in the season to Virginia Tech, especially against Michigan State, and then on, Ohio State dominated the Big Ten and especially that championship game. They held Melvin Gordon, a Heisman contender running back, to 76 yards in that game. It was just an onslaught right from the get-go, and they lost J.T. Barrett, a Heisman contender quarterback, who replaced another Heisman contender quarterback, Braxton Miller, at the beginning of the year. They stepped him in their third-string quarterback, and he had a day. So Urban Meyer, give him a lot of credit, and I think that's why the committee chose Ohio State over TCU and Baylor. Now, you compare the two conferences, Big 10 versus the Big 12. Again, both conferences kind of had a down year, and there's going to be a lot of arguments which conference is better, and TCU got snubbed or Baylor got snubbed. But at the end of the day, I think the committee made the right decision and put Ohio State in that 4th slot because of that performance in the Big Ten championship game. They dominated Michigan State, and then they dominated Wisconsin. So I give credit all to Ohio State, and I've been saying this for the past couple weeks. Ohio State will sneak in there, and I think they made the right decision. Now, like I was talking about before, with the debate between which conference is better, now you can compare Oklahoma State, Oklahoma, they had down years. Kansas is like compared to, I would say, Michigan State. And then you have really two teams in both conferences that dominated and were better than the rest of the field. And that was for the Big 12, TCU and Baylor. And then you had in the Big 10 was Wisconsin and Ohio State. And all 3 teams played really well in that last Saturday, but Ohio State made a statement. I think the committee couldn't ignore that. Now let's talk about the other 3 teams. Alabama, Oregon, they were at number 1, number 2 for most of the season. You have to give credit where credit is due, especially with Alabama. New quarterback, new system, Lane Kiffin coming in, and Nick Saban, he just regroups and reloads, and they dominate the SEC, the best conference in the entire land, no doubt about it, and they dominate every single week. And that one loss they had was to Ole Miss on the road, and they lost that game. Ole Miss, you have to give credit to Ole Miss for defeating Alabama, but Alabama probably should have won that game, especially with a young team, inexperienced team, new quarterback, and you had Amari Cooper and TJ Yeldon leading that charge with those 2 superstars. Now Oregon, enough said, Mariota, run through the Pac-12. He's going to be the Heisman winner, no doubt about it, in my opinion. Then you have number 3, Florida State. You have Jameis Winston, the reigning Heisman Trophy winner. You have the reigning defending national champions. They've been up and down all year long, but again, new team, new players, new skill positions. So you have to give credit to Florida State for bouncing back every single game against every single opponent. Again, the ACC is a down year for them, but a win is a win. A win is a win. And they're undefeated with a ACC championship belt in that season. So Florida State, they're going to be the number 3 spot. Now let's talk about each matchup. You have number 1 versus number 4, number 2 versus number 3. Alabama, Ohio State is going to be a great matchup to watch because you have the 2 best coaches in the country, the 2 best coaches this past decade, and maybe the 2 best coaches in college football history, period. Urban Meyer, Nick Saban, they go head-to-head. What Nick Saban's done for Alabama is unbelievable. One of the greatest coaches ever in Alabama lore, and that's saying something, especially with Paul Bear Bryant. And then Urban Meyer, what he's done throughout his entire career. Utah, Alex Smith, Orange Bowl champs. Then go to Florida. Tim Tebow, a couple national championships there. Then goes to Ohio State and has regained that swagger in the Buckeye State. So it's a great matchup to watch between 2 awesome coaches. Then you have Florida State and Oregon. The reigning Heisman Trophy winner in Jameis Winston versus probably the Heisman Trophy winner in Marcus Mariota. Those 2 teams are very explosive offensively, very dynamic, a lot of playmakers on both sides of the ball, and the running back position especially. Mr. Cook for Florida State, he's an unbelievable true freshman. He's going to have a huge game against Oregon if Florida State has a chance to beat Oregon, because Florida State hasn't played a competition like Oregon all year long. They've played Notre Dame, they've played Florida, they played Miami, but they played Clemson. But a team like Oregon, they haven't had that competition yet. So Mr. Cook has to have a huge game against the Ducks. Now for Oregon, what they have to do, they just got to keep playing their game, and they can't let Florida State sneak in there because Jameis Winston, hands down, is the best clutch quarterback in the entire country. So it's going to be a very explosive game. A lot of points on the board. I believe in the Oregon-Florida State game. It's going to be an exciting matchup to watch. At the end of the day, I said Alabama was going to win the national championship game. At the beginning of the year, I said they're going to be national title winners. And I'm sticking to that. I think Alabama will win the crown. I'm Matt Mike in the 411. Catch you tomorrow.